Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It's April 10th, 2023, and we have a lot of news to share with you today. Starting that, it's reported that Alejandro Balde's contract renewal has been completed. Also, the former Barcelona prodigy Xavi Simmons is being linked with the club once again, and finally, the club are confident that they can offload Francisco Trincao and make some money off that sale. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Welcome everyone to Barca News's live stream. As always, these live streams are on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for those who have joined, and thank you to those who will be watching the stream once it ends. As always, we'll follow the same format where I will talk about a segment of news, and then I'll head to the comment section to see what you guys are talking about. If I can answer any questions, and if we can get this dialogue going. Now, let's start with Barcelona's match today. Barcelona played against Girona, where we drew 0-0 at the Spotify Camp Nou, and where Barcelona blew a huge chance to increase their lead over Real Madrid by 15 points after Villarreal defeated Real Madrid 2-3. And it seems that the team were unable to take advantage of this gift that Villarreal gave us, and they weren't able to beat Girona at home, which was absolutely unacceptable. And it was a terrible performance by the team overall. I kind of expected the team to bounce back from that defeat in the Copa del Rey 0-4 at the hands of Real Madrid, but instead they did the same thing as they did the last time when we were knocked out of the match to when we were knocked out of a Europa League at the hands of Manchester United, and where we had the chance to increase our lead over Real Madrid from 7 to 10 points, and Barcelona ended up blowing that chance, losing to Almeria 0-1. And today they did the same thing, blowing our chance to increase our lead over Real Madrid by 15 points, and instead drawing against Girona 0-0. Now, there were a few surprises in the lineup, starting with Eric Garcia, starting in the place of Andreas Christensen, who's still injured. Initial reports were saying it was Marcos Alonso who's going to be starting, but instead we saw Eric Garcia, who in my opinion did a pretty good job. He was pretty solid defensively, of course, alongside Ronald Araujo, who's always at the top of his game in all matches. On the fullback positions, we saw Kunde and Alejandro Balde, which was, of course, very much expected. In the midfield, I was very surprised to see Sergio Roberto starting over Frank SC in the place of Frankie de Jong, who's currently injured. And then we had Busquets in the pivot position and Gabi as a left interior. And we saw Xavi go back to the 4-3-3 formation. So we saw three attackers with Lewandowski surrounded by Rafinha and Ansu Fati. Another surprising attacking line. A lot of people were predicting that would be Ferran Torres starting in the place on the left wing, but instead we saw Ansu Fati. And overall, the team did not really perform that well. They looked asleep in many moments of the match. They were lacking intensity. They looked like they were up 5-0 when there was a training session. I don't quite understand it. I don't know if they're still down from that defeat against Real Madrid or if the team thinks that they already won La Liga, but it was an absolutely unacceptable performance. Now, once again, we're having the same problem as previous matches where our attacking line is absolutely disastrous. We have no attack whatsoever. The defense was solid like they always are. That includes Mark ter Stegen. And in fact, we have the best numbers defensively speaking and statistically speaking in all of Europe. The midfield was pretty solid as well, except for Sergio Roberto, who had a pretty bad match. He was very inconsistent. He made a lot of mistakes, let the ball through many occasions. But once Xavi made that adjustment and brought Frank Kessie in his place, we saw a much improvement in the midfield. But again, the attacking line failed us, and that has to do with our wingers who are absolutely atrocious. And I said this after the match between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and I'll say it again. Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, Rafinha have to go ASAP. They don't have the level to compete at Barcelona. They don't have the level to be Barcelona starters. They don't even have the level to be Barcelona substitutes. They need to go because they don't generate anything. Rafinha, again, cannot dribble past his own grandma. That guy is afraid to try anything. What the winger is supposed to be doing in Barcelona is running with the ball all the way in until they reach the back line and then making those dangerous passes into the box. But instead, Rafinha is too scared to do that. So he immediately pauses. He looks to either make a back pass, a side pass, or to send a cross after pointless cross into the box, which does not work. Ferran and Ansu Fati, same deal. At least they try things, unlike Rafinha, but it doesn't work out. None of our wingers are creating any danger. The only one who was doing that was Dembele, but unfortunately he's been injured for quite some time, and we don't know when he's going to come back. So our our attacking line needs to be completely overhauled come this summer, and those three players need to leave. Now, Lewandowski did miss several chances, which was not good to see. But overall, it was still the same problem where most of the match, our wingers could not get him the ball. And we're having a very serious problem with attack that needs to be fixed this summer. It needs to be addressed. Otherwise, we're going to be struggling next season to compete in Europe, just like we did this season. Now, overall, again, not a good match by Barcelona. I expected them to bounce back from that defeat, but instead they disappointed all of us, taking that draw home, which they should have won, being at Spotify Camp now, being against someone like Girona. But nonetheless, we still took home 1 point, so now the lead is 13 points over Real Madrid. And Frankie de Jong will be healthy, or at least it's being reported that he will be healthy next match against Getafe. So hopefully that will see us improve in several areas, and we can get back to our winning ways. Because if we continue playing like this, if we continue dropping points, then the end of La Liga, the last stretch of La Liga, can get very complicated. And that's the last thing we need to do. We need to continue pushing. We need to continue playing every match like it's a final, so we can accomplish the goal of this season, which was to win La Liga to begin with. Now, I'm going to head to the comment section, see what you guys thought about this match between Barcelona and Girona. And let's start. Lincoln says, hi, everyone. Hello, Lincoln. Hello, everyone to who's in the chat and who will be watching the stream later. SA is saying, I'm just telling it now. Having no players that can make goals happen all by themselves is agony. R10, Eto'o, Messi, we don't have any. That's true. We don't really have any players. I mean, we do have Lewandowski, who is a proven goal scorer who's been doing it for the past 10 seasons, scoring 40, 50 goals per season. But unfortunately, when you have wingers who can do absolutely nothing with the ball, can't get him the ball, that's where the problem really lies. I think our front line needs to completely be redone this summer. And those three players, Ferran, Ansu, and Rafinha, need to go ASAP. Lincoln says, today's game was indeed the worst game I saw in a while. They looked pointless, and now attack can score even if you remove the goalkeeper from the game. That's true. The team looked asleep. They looked like they had no desire to be there. They lacked intensity. They lacked creativity. There was absolutely no strategy in place as far as the attack. The team just looked like they were winning 5-0, 8-0, and that they were just passing the ball, having fun. One more comment, then we'll move to the next segment of news. Xavi isn't the best coach for Barcelona. That's not true. Xavi's doing a great job. He's working with what he has, which is not much. So it's not a problem with Xavi. It's a problem with, again, our attacking line is just absolutely atrocious. All right. Big up Mo from St. Vincent. What's up? Oh, that's awesome. St. Vincent. That's pretty cool. That game was boring. Yes, it was. I actually fell asleep during the last segment of the match. I fell asleep for 5 minutes. And I had a pretty good sleep last night, so it's not like I was tired. It's just that's how boring this game was. All right, one more. Theo says, I firmly believe Rafinha, Sergio Roberto, Marcos Alonso, Kessi, Ferran Torres, and even Dembele are not good enough for the team. Dembele is always injured, so cannot be relied on. I agree with Rafinha, not good enough. Sergio Roberto, I don't mind have Sergio on the team because, again, he's a player with a lot of experience, very versatile, can play in different positions. He's not earning much. He's earning as much as a Barca Athletic player, so I don't mind him being there on the team. I just don't think, given his age and his decline in performance, that we can use him in big matches like, Real Madrid in the semifinal. I think he's the kind of player that you can use as a rotational player, to rest your starters against smaller teams. Today he had a bad match, but so far he's been having a good season. So I don't mind have Sergio on the team. I don't think he's a great player or anything, but I think he's a good player to have to rotate. Marcos Alonso, same thing. I think he's a good player as far as his versatility, his experience. He's definitely someone good to rotate your center backs. Again, against smaller teams, maybe not against big matches. Kessi, I'm a little split on Frank Kessi. I think he's had pretty good matches and he's had bad ones. I'm not sure how I feel about Frank Kessi. I think I would give it until the end of the season to see what's going on. Ferran Torres, of course, he needs to go. Dembele, I agree about the injuries, that he's unreliable in that way. But this season has been a phenomenal season for Dembele, creating a lot of danger, providing assists, scoring goal. Maybe not so much scoring goals, but definitely he's the only winger who can actually create danger through the wings. So he's the only attacker who could get the ball to Lewandowski. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to rely on Dembele completely. When he's healthy, he's an absolute monster. I think we have to look at our medical staff at Barcelona. Something's going on. Something needs to be changed because these injuries are taking too long for players to heal from, and they're constantly getting re-injured while they're still healing from their injuries. So something needs to be done. Now let's move on to the next segment of news. They're reporting that Alejandro Balde's contract renewal is officially complete. Both parties have reached a final agreement in regards to everything. We have been talking about this for a while, that most of the big terms of the contract have been agreed on between both parties, but there were still some small details to finalize. And it seems that all has been finalized. Both parties have agreed to extend the contract of Alejandro Balde until 2027, and the agreement is complete. All it needs, of course, is the signature of the parties, which for now it can happen until Barcelona reduce their wage bill. Now, it looks like Barcelona gave Alejandro Balde some guarantees, specifically to his future, telling him that he's obviously someone that the team relies on heavily, that he will be a starter on the first team, as it should be. And another guarantee that Barcelona gave the player, which was something that he was worried about, was that Barcelona will be able to register his contract once that contract renewal becomes official. Now, it looks like Alejandro Balde was a little bit worried about that the same thing could happen to him as Gabi, where Gabi's contract was renewed and they register it, and then eventually that registration fell through. But it looks like Barcelona guaranteed to Alejandro Balde that they will be registering his contract. It's the absolute priority of the club before anything else to register the contracts of Ronald Araujo, Gabi, Marcos Alonso, and Sergio Roberto, and of course Alejandro Balde once that contract renewal becomes official. So before Barcelona even starts thinking about signing players, their absolute priority is to register these contracts, which is of course important because we're talking about, in between Gabi, Balde, and Araujo, that's the future of our team. These are very young, talented players who match after match look absolutely amazing on the field, who contribute a lot to the team. These are the players who we should be worrying about registering before we can even think about signing players, before we can even think about bringing Messi back. We have to guarantee the contract of these three players. These three players are some of the best in the world in their position. They need to stay at Barcelona before we can even think about signing any other player. And that's the absolute priority of Barcelona, and that's what they told to Alejandro Balde. So it looks like Balde will be with Barcelona until 2027, which is, of course, great news. I think Balde is becoming one of the best left backs in the world, if not already the best left back in the world. He's an absolute monster. His speed, his dribbling, that's something that we lack a lot on the team, from our wingers. We actually saw that substitution during a match where Xavi brought out, I think it was Ansu Fati, brought in Jordi Alba. The match completely changed because all of a sudden we had Jordi Alba who can dribble through the left wing and make those dangerous passes to the box, and he created some danger. And we shouldn't be bringing a defender to be doing that job. Our wingers should be doing that. Rafinha should be doing that. Ferran should be doing that. Ansu should be doing that. But yet they don't do that match after match. So that's a big, big problem. And we're very lucky to have someone like Alejandro Balde with his speed, with his dribbling. And I'm glad that he renewed his contract with Barcelona. Back to the comment section, then we'll move on to the next segment. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Clifford says, even Jordi Alba played better as a left winger than our so-called wingers. I agree. That's exactly what I just said right now. Once Jordi came, the match changed, which is, it tells you that there's a big, big problem with our wingers, with our attacking line. Defenders should not be doing the job of an attacker. Let's see. Apparently, touching your nose is worse than punching an opponent in a car park. Yeah, I agree. If you're a Real Madrid player, you can get away with anything. Vinicius Jr., match after match, he taunts other players. He screams at the referees. He insults the referees. He calls them crazy. He taunts the fans. He does whatever the hell he wants. Not a single suspension, no red cards, barely gets yellow cards, and that's only for the fouls, not for running his mouth. So, if you have a white jersey on, it's a license to do whatever the hell you want. But if you're a Barcelona player, the whole thing changes. I mean, again, Lewandowski did this 3-match suspension. We got Federico Valverde punching a player, not even during the match, after the match, waiting for him outside in the parking lot, punching him in the face, and then La Liga, nowhere to be found. But then it's Real Madrid fans who say that they're the ones who are prejudiced by referees, which is absolutely laughable that they can even claim that. Anyways, one more comment, then we'll move on to our next segment. Nima says 6 likes. Yes, thank you, Nima. Thank you for bringing that up. There's 39 of us here on the live stream, and we only have 6 likes, or 8 now. So please, guys, if you can hit that like button, it goes a long way in promoting this video on YouTube, which brings more viewers, more subscribers to the channel, which of course helps this small, humble channel continue to grow. Thank you, Nima. Nima also says, suggestion, if you keep answers to comments short, you can cover more questions and comments. True, but, there's so much to say. Anyways, one more, and let's see. Andrease, I hope I'm saying your name right, says, Lewa wasn't good in front of goal. Rafa was giving, I'm guessing he's talking about Rafinha, was giving those crosses and wasn't doing anything. And please don't rate Rafinha on his dribbling now. Still can improve. Patience is key for him. Yes, I agree. Lewandowski did make some bad decisions. He always likes to seem to take an extra step that you don't need to. Just get the ball and shoot it. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence because he hasn't been scoring much goals or what's going on, or maybe it's fatigue because he's played every match, but Lewandowski definitely did took a lot of bad decisions. Rafinha, as far as Rafinha improving, Rafinha is 26 years old. He's not going to improve. What we're seeing is what we're going to get. Now, I do understand that when a player arrives at a team, there's usually, about a year of adaptation to the style of play. Unfortunately, with Rafinha, I haven't seen any improvement since he started. In fact, I've seen his performance actually decline. So that's where the problem rises. If I saw match after match that he's getting slowly better, then I'm like, okay, at least, he's adapting, he's getting better. Next season, he's going to be better. I haven't seen that a lot at all. All I see him is poor performance after poor performance. And in fact, I've seen his performance decline. So if it's not improving and we're towards the end of the season, there's no reason for me to think that he's going to improve next season. And then again, he's 26 years old. So what we see is what we're going to get. This is not Ansu Fati, who's 20 years old and can still improve, right? Players usually continue to grow, developing their skills until 22, 24. He's 26. He's in his prime. That's the best version of Rafinha that we're going to get. And so far, it's very poor. Maybe it's good enough for, what was his Premier League team? I forget. Maybe it was good enough for that team. Definitely not good enough for Barcelona. Anyways, let's hit the news. Xavi Simons has been linked with Barcelona return. If you don't know who Xavi Simons is, he's a 19-year-old Masia prodigy. He was supposed to be the next big thing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because when it was time to renew his contract, he fell in the same trap as many players fall, where they think all of a sudden, I'm getting better, there's attention on me, so I want to make the big bucks. He wanted to renew his contract with a lot more money than what Barcelona were willing to pay him, and eventually he ended up leaving Barcelona. Now, this wasn't necessarily the player's fault. It was more his agent and his family who were insisting on a very big contract and that Barcelona were not willing to pay. And in fact, Xavi Simons wanted to stay at Barcelona, and when the agent and his family decided to leave. In fact, there's reports saying that he was actually crying because he wanted to stay in Barcelona. In fact, he's named Xavi after Xavi Hernandez. So it was a bad situation where Xavi Simons ended up in PSG. Completely regretted that move, just like any player who goes to PSG. I don't understand why players go there unless you're towards the end of the career and looking to make a quick buck to retire. It's a dead end in your career. I don't understand why Mbappe would renew his contract, but that's a different matter for a different day. Anyways, Xavi Simons ended up leaving PSG for free, and now he has that PSV Eindhoven, and he's absolutely killing it. He's seen a revival of his career. He's being a fundamental piece for PSV Eindhoven, and he's doing wonders. And he was just seen in the city of Barcelona, taking a picture with one of his really good friends who he came up with through La Masia, which is Alejandro Balde. And this picture has now given fuel to the rumors that Barcelona want to bring Xavi Simons back. Now, For starter, Xavi Simons' family all live in Barcelona, so him being in the city of Barcelona doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean he's negotiating with the club. He goes to Barcelona pretty often to visit his family. A picture with his friend Alejandro Balde. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. They came up together through La Masia. So these reports is not completely untrue, but they're mostly false. Yes, there are many people within the club who want to bring Xavi Simons back, but the majority of the people at the club say no because how things ended with the player. Also, even if the whole club wanted him back, the financial situation makes it kind of prohibitive because Xavi Simons right now has a value of 30 million euros, which Barcelona simply cannot pay. So no, Barcelona are not considering bringing Xavi Simons back, even though there are people within the club who would like to see him come back. Let's head back to the comment section and then one more segment of news and we'll wrap this up since we're already at 20 minutes. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay. Theo says for dribbling, Rafinha is 1/10. Yeah, I agree. I would even give him a half point, not even a 1. Barca should consider signing Samuel Chukwueze from Villarreal. Again, before we can even think about signing players, we need to reduce our wage bill by 200 million euros. We need to register the contracts of the players that we've renewed. We need to sign, or at least complete the signing of Gundogan and Iñigo Martinez, which everything has been agreed to. And of course, there's the main goals of bringing Vitor Roque as a striker, and then hopefully someone for the right back before we can even think about other players. So I don't think Chukwueze signing is possible. I respect Valverde for standing up for his family, but he deserves to be suspended. Yes, he should be suspended. There's no place of violence in football, regardless what Alex Baena said to him, which we don't know. Some are claiming that Alex Baena insulted his unborn child, but Alex Baena and Villarreal are denying that. We don't know. What we do know for sure is Valverde punched someone. He needs to be suspended for that. No questions asked. Why did Pep even go? Why did that ever had to happen? Sir Pep could remain. Well, the reason Pep Guardiola left is because he was driven out by the former president, Sandro Rosé, and Bartomeu, who was the vice president at the time. They both drove him out of the club. That's why he left, which is unfortunate. I think they should also maintain discipline, special Gabi for his. Are you saying that Gabi should be disciplined? I don't understand the comment. We have Abde coming back from loan, and I would keep Ansu. I wanted to keep Ansu because he is young. He could still have margin to grow, but I just don't see it anymore. I think the former version of Ansu we're not going to see again. He doesn't do anything on the field. It's sad because, there was a lot of hopes on Ansu. He was going to be the next Messi, but I think the injury really messed him up. And Barcelona right now are not in position to be waiting for players because the financial situation, given everything that's going on at the club, is just not a luxury that we have. So either sell Ansu or loan him out, but Ansu cannot stay on the team. Okay, let's go back. Last bit of news, and then we'll do comments at the end. We'll do it a little bit longer. Since there wasn't much news today, it was a little bit slow. It is holiday in Barcelona, with Easter. So there's not a lot of news coming out of the club. So we'll do a longer section at the end for you guys' questions and comments, and we can keep this discussion going. The last segment of news is that Barcelona are very confident that they can make some money off the sale of Trincao. Trincao, Barcelona signed them during the Bartomeu era. There was a lot of hopes on him that he would be the next star. He obviously didn't live up to the hype, so Barcelona loaned him out to Wolverhampton in the Premier League. Did not live up to the expectation there either. So he came back, and finally Barcelona loaned him to Sporting Lisbon, where he's having a phenomenal season. He's somehow revived his career. He just scored a hat trick. I think it was yesterday. And overall, he scored 12 goals and 3 assists. He's become a very important player for his current team. So Barcelona are confident that Sporting Lisbon will activate or that they will exercise the option to buy in the contract. Now, the option to buy is obligatory, but it was the same option to buy in the Wolverhampton loan where it was also obligatory, but Trincao did so bad that Wolverhampton decided not to pay the money, and they actually ended up paying Barcelona a fine for not exercising that option, which is obligatory. But in this case, Trincao is doing so well at Sporting Lisbon. Barcelona are confident they will activate that, that they will follow through and pay the obligatory option, which is 7 million euros. And Sporting Lisbon had already paid 3 million euros to loan him. So Barcelona are looking to make a total of 10 million euros off Trincao come this summer. There's also 50% clause that gives Barcelona 50% of any future sales. So if Sporting Lisbon then turn around and sell Trincao to someone else, Barcelona can earn half of that transfer fee, which means Barcelona could potentially earn a lot more than that 10 million euros. And there are talks about several Premier Leagues who are very interested in Trincao. So Sporting Lisbon could end up selling him, and Barcelona could end up making more money. Of course, this is great news for Barcelona. We need as much money as possible come this summer. But nonetheless, it's still selling a player at a loss, because what Bartomeu paid for Trincao was 30 million euros. Now, someone said in the comments yesterday in one of the videos saying Barcelona don't know how to sell players. And the problem is, it's not Barcelona selling players, it's how much we paid for these players. It's buying players. And it's, you already know the previous board, Bartomeu and all his board of directors had the habit of paying transfer fees that were way above market value. So that right there puts you at a loss. If a player is worth 50 million and you pay 70, you're already 20 million euros at a loss. And the only way you can recuperate that money is if the player comes to your club and somehow starts even performing better, which increases his value. And of course, in the case of most of Bartomeu signings, the opposite happened. These players came and their performance went down, which meant their market value went down, which meant it was even a bigger loss for Barcelona. So it's not a question of Barcelona not knowing how to sell their players. It was a question of all these terrible signings that Bartomeu did that put Barcelona in this financial hole, and that we're still paying for it because, again, these players, we paid way more than what they were worth. So selling them now, it's all going to be at a loss. There's also the problem of salary. Bartomeu used to hand out these exorbitant, huge salaries way above market value. So that's another problem for the club, because it becomes hard to sell players when they have such high salaries, because other clubs don't want to match those salaries, because why would they? They'd be crazy to do it. And of course, the players want to continue earning the same salary. They don't want to go to another club and earn less. So it's not a problem that Barcelona don't know how to sell players. It's a problem that Barcelona didn't know how to buy players under the Bartomeu era. Let's head to the section of comments. I want to keep the stream at 30 minutes, so we got about 3 minutes to keep the discussion here going, and then we'll wrap it up. Excuse me. All right, let's see. McBarsa says, agree or disagree, Ansu is better as a super sub. I would disagree, because even when Ansu comes off the bench, he really doesn't do much. Now, if Ansu was still, performing like he was before, sure, that would be one hell of a super sub. But right now, I just don't see it. Is Barca pulling a deal, cashing in, or do another lever selling thing? Oh, lever. No economic levers. Javier Tebas has said Barcelona cannot activate any more economic levers. So Barcelona have to figure out how to generate revenues without levers. It's mostly going to be offloading players. It's going to be bringing new sponsorships. And maybe if they have to do some friendly matches just so they can generate more money. Let's see. Crispy says Barca should incorporate more strength training to prevent all injuries that has been screwing us over. I don't think it's a training issue. I think it's a medical issue, because injuries are part of the game. Players get injured. That's normal. What's not normal about the situation in Barcelona is that these players are getting re-injured while they're still healing from their injuries. So that's the problem. So I think something's going on with the medical staff where they're not really doing a good job in the healing process of the players. Dembele and Pedri, the reason why they're out for so long is because they got re-injured while they were still healing from their injuries, which that's something that's not common. Injuries are common across all teams, all clubs, all leagues, but getting re-injured while you're still healing, that's not common, and it's been happening a lot in Barcelona. It happened with Pedri, happened with Dembele, it happened with Frankie, and hopefully it doesn't happen with Christensen, but that's what we need to look at. But it's reported that already the medical staff are on thin ice, and that they're definitely being monitored to see what's going on. So we could see a change in the medical staff come the summer. Let's see. What La Masia players do you want to see play? Good question. I really want to see Garrido play today. Alex Garrido, He had some minutes again. Can't remember what match it was. It was the one before Real Madrid in La Liga, and I really liked what I saw. He is very good. He has an incredible touch with the ball, incredible passing. I mean, he is so smooth with his movement. I really wanted to see him today play. I think him on the right wing with Jordi Alba on the left wing would have caused a lot more damage than Ferran, Ansu, Rafinha all combined. I would definitely at least like to see Garrido. Estanis is doing a lot of damage in the Barca Athletic. He's scoring goals. I would love to see him on the first team as well. Shadi Riyad, would love to see him as a center in the center back position. Unfortunately, that's most likely not going to happen. We do have 5 center backs, so unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. But I would love to see Shadi Riyad get some minutes with the first team. So those are the 3 players on top of my head that I can think about. Let's see, a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up. SA says, does Pedrola have a big boy contract already, or are they waiting to do one first before let him play first time matches because afraid? Who's Pedrola? Who are you talking about? Ross here from San Diego, California. Love your show, buddy. What's up, Ross? I love California. And actually, San Diego is my favorite city in California. So I'm from the West Coast myself. I grew up in Vegas. So I used to go to SoCal all the time. So hello, Ross. Definitely love San Diego. I'm jealous that you get to live there. How come the likes of Messi and Ronaldo seldom get injured? Because these are aliens. These are not humans. I mean, Messi and Ronaldo, to compare them to other players is just, just they're completely on a different level. I mean, I do believe Messi is way better than Ronaldo. I don't think Ronaldo even reaches the heels of Messi, but nonetheless, we're talking about players who are just on a whole nother level. In the case of Ronaldo, he really takes care of himself outside. Like, he already does all the exercises and nutrition and everything that that his club makes him do. And on top of that, he does his own thing on his side. Like, just like we see with LeBron James in basketball, these are players who take their fitness very, very seriously. In the case of Messi, it's not so much train as more he knows how to conserve his energy. We see Messi walking a lot on the field, and that's because he picks his moment, when to explode and when to use energy. So he's very good about managing his own energy, and that's how Messi is able to stay healthy and without energy. Without injuries. One more comment, we'll wrap it up, and let's see. Xavi's in-game management needs improvement. So far, he's poor. Yes, he does need improvement. I don't think it's poor. I mean, we forget where we came from. Barcelona hasn't won La Liga in 3 years. I think the only trophy we've won these past few seasons is the Copa del Rey. And I mean, to be going through all the problems that we're going through, the financial situation, Javier Tebas is constantly harassing us, not allowing us to sign players, and not allowing us to register players. All these accusations of the Enrique State case, all these media campaign against Barcelona, everything that the club are currently facing. And yet Xavi has us 13 points ahead of Real Madrid, who are having, no problems at all. Their economy is great. They're just unveiled their new stadium. They did all the signings they wanted to do, new coach, everything. Real Madrid are having, no problems at all. And yet we're still 13 points ahead of them despite all the problems that we're having. That's not a coincidence. That doesn't come by accident. Xavi is doing a good job. I don't think his management is poor. Does it need improvement? Sure. He's still a new coach. He's still learning. This is his first full season at the top of the football world, but I wouldn't say his performance is poor. Not even close. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the live stream. Thank you for watching the live stream. For those of you who will watch it later, I will see you in tomorrow's video, and then we'll have another live stream on Wednesday, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again. Visca Barça, and have a good night.